Good afternoon, everybody. This is OTC. I trade with Bear Bull Trading Community, and this is my live recap of ROKU. So, ROKU was not on my watch list in the morning. No one in the pre-market show for Bear Bull Traders, which, let me plug them here. Bear Bull Traders is the community I trade with. I tried several other trading communities before committing to a lifetime membership with Bear Bull Traders. It's a fit for me. Humble group, all about trading, learning, getting better. They're not about, taking your money and telling you that they'll make you the best trader in the world. There is a fee involved in being a member, but I've recognized that the money comes back. They've incorporated 2 or 3 more psychology coaches. A lot of the guys who trade there, including the main guys, the main moderators, they're really good traders. There's 3 guys there that I aspire to take a little bit of knowledge from each one of those 3 and become the best trader that I can. So great community. We do a pre-market show every day that lasts an hour, starts at 7:30. I'm in Central Standard Time. So shout out to Bear Bull Traders. But point being is that this was not on the watch list for being a gapper or high volume. I typically keep it on one of my auxiliary charts, but I did not do so this morning because I swapped it out for one of the stocks in plays, which is one of the stocks that the moderator team found on our trade idea scanner, and I swapped out ROKU for something else. I think it was for Walmart on a catalyst, or possibly swapped it out for one of the other stocks in plays, being which one was that? Well, not important. I swapped it out for a different stock. But as you can see here, let's jump into the trade. So I'm going to minimize this a little bit so that I can use the pen. You can see it made a move up here. On the 15 I marked it, but let's go over here to the 2. So came out, never gave up this 20. In fact, this would have been a great opening range break, right? An ORB, because you have this is the previous day close. You have the pre-market low, you have the 200 SMA, you have the 100 SMA, you have the 50 SMA, everything here. How much more support do you want? Like, this would have been an awesome trade. Whoever got this opening range break, good for them. So much support here, like a brick wall to hold this action up and take this for a 162 to 178, so 10, 6 more, so $16 move, right? Would have been an excellent trade, but I didn't get that. So what I did is, someone called it out in the chat room saying, who caught the ROKU opening range break? So I thought, okay, well, it's been playing to the upside, let me go over, check it out. And then I decided, well, let's try to play this for a parabolic reversal or a head and shoulders. So sure enough, when I got to it, this is what it had created. That's the shoulder, that's the head. And before I even recognized that, I took what I call a premature entry, right? Because let's run it. So you can see here, I took an entry short right here, the red triangle, and then I took a quick partial, and then I recognized that the shoulder had formed, the head had formed, but where's the other shoulder? Where's the other shoulder, which would be lower top than this? Well, it hadn't formed. So I got out of that at break even, took a partial, got out at break even. No harm, no foul. A little bit of maybe 1 cent or 2 cent profit per share. And then I recognized, okay, well, let's wait for it and see what develops here. So here what happened is I had a hotkey error. I use a Stream Deck to trade. I was not on my short folder. So here's my long folder. These are all my long hotkeys. And here is my short folder. So if I want to take a position short, I need to be using these. but I was on this guy here, and so that's why I got stopped out immediately. So that's in and out at the same penny. So hotkey error there. But then I take a position short because I thought I recognized that this was the head, this was this was the shoulder, this was the head, and then this stock had run up so much that it created the shoulder really quickly. So that's the shoulder. So I got in, and then I took a quick partial, and let's run it. Not a great trade, to be honest with you. It turned out to be okay, but it was not a well thought out trade. And so then this is a range order to sell. So let's speed it up 30 seconds. Okay, so that's out. So I took a partial there. Took another partial here at when it met the 20 EMA on the 1 minute. Sorry, in the live video I'm scrolling in and out, making the candles larger, bigger, larger or smaller to see where these averages and the VWAP, so where VWAP is and where the 50 SMA is on my chart. Took a partial, let's run it faster, 30-second skip, 30-second skip, another 30-second skip. It's working its way down. Set a range order. This is to sell shares. Boom, got filled. I thought, okay, super strong stock. Not really sure if it is gonna, overcome this 50 SMA on the 1 minute by much. So I was, I hadn't been watching this stock all day, so I was not willing to allow this to come back. So I took my last partial there. Let's run it, see what happens. Looks like I might have, yeah, I had more shares, right? So that's just speeding it up. Okay, so no, this was, let me pause it. So this was a short. I took a short here. The error that I had with the hotkey is at the same price because I recognized, right? I recognized that this was the shoulder, this was the head, and then the shoulder. Can't see it on the 2, but all right there. So I took it short here, partial, 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 all out. And then I kept watching it, and I took a long position on this because it's a strong stock. So I've noticed that it's the first time. If I scroll out on this, which I can't, let's go over. So let's move this off and go over to the actual platform. So let's scroll out on the 1 and see what happened. Okay, so this was the first time since the opening bell that it tested the 50 SMA, right? So tested the 50 SMA here, the red line, and then we are gonna scroll back out. So I'm gonna put it all the way over, scroll back out, and then I'm going to zoom in on this portion here. And then I'm going to zoom in again and again. Okay. I got all out of that short right here, right? So back to where we were. Short, partial, break even, mistake, short in that same spot, partial, all out. Okay, and then I got in here because, as I was saying, this is the first time it had tested the 50 SMA all day long on a strong stock that had been trending up. So first time it had tested, you can see it here. So let's move back to the video. And got in on a long position, as I mentioned here. There I go doing that again. I love to mess with that Epic Pen, right? Got in a long position here. Now I'm going to run it. You can see I took my first partial here, right? Good. Let's just say that's at 50, 76. So already a 50 cent. So so another 20. So 70-cent run already. So for the mess I was making up here, although this short turned out to be pretty good, now that I look back at it, this long looks like it turned out to be even better, because if I entered here and hadn't taken a partial at all during this, so good burst of volume there, good burst of energy of the buyers saying, no, we are not giving up this level right here. The first partial being after, so consolidation here, consolidating. So typically this is a pretty risky move to sit here and allow yourself to watch the consolidation of below the 50 SMA, but it's the first time it had tested it all day. So I was fairly confident here that, you know, with having, you know, you're always willing to risk a loss of something, right? So here's my technical level loss. If it gives up the bottom of these candles that change the sentiment from bearish to bullish, if it gives up that, then I'm all out. I lose. That's my 1R loss. But it didn't. It went my way. It went up in the direction that I was needing it to go to illustrate a good trade on my behalf. So let's play it. So partial, keeps going, still pushing, watching the level 2, always watching the level 2, always watching the tape. Just as a reminder, this is where I have all the tickets, the sales. This is where I have the over 1000s or higher, or this is where I have the 100s, or actually 99s or greater. So sell, in the money, sell. Purple is above the ask, so that's good. That means people are selling. Okay, so another low volume, good push there. Great push for the buyers, the bulls, to get it above the average. So put my stop loss, as we mentioned, lost that wick. Let's speed it up a little. Okay, consolidation, not too concerned. Low volume pullbacks. Talk about those all the time. Low volume pullbacks, low volume pullback. Retesting the average, fell below the average, but still looking over here, right? So when it falls below the average on the 1 minute, before I panic and say, oh no, I'm all out because this happened, we fell below. Before I panic and say I'm all out, I'm looking over here to the 2 minute and seeing what it's holding. So the bottom of this one, which is the 20 EMA, is right here. Plus we have this purple line, which is VPOC, which is where the majority of the transactions happen today. This is in a bullish sentiment, so I think that's a good support level. You have the 20 EMA, which it hasn't tested all day. It tested once here with a wick, then tested it here on that short, which people already took some profits off. So now we're going for a move up again, right? So I was pretty confident that this VPOC and 20 EMA here we're going to hold. So let's keep running it. So that the point there again is that doesn't trouble me too much. And right, like we said, big volume, lower volume, lower volume, lower volume. Here, in fact, the sellers are exhausting themselves. They're trying to push it down. They're trying to force it, the action, price action below the 50 SMA, and they're not successful. So this, I see it as a good thing for my move up. All right, push play. Low volume consolidation, as we said. Still consolidating, gave up the average. So now I draw a trend line to see, okay, if it falls below this average, I'm going to get all out. Okay, there it fell below the average, but hasn't fallen below the average on the 2. Now it has created, so it depends on how this candle closes, what we're going to do, what I'm going to do. Okay, so that candle closes, so that is a great example of patience that I'm developing to watch the price action and to incorporate the price action with volume, which is what's called volume price action, right? VPA. Because, and to use the 1 minute and the 2 minute. So here can be a panic. Oh no, now we're below this trend. What's going to happen? But I look over here on the 2 minute, and this candle closed right on the same trend line. The 15 minute is still above the trend line. The 5 minute is still above the trend line, right? The body. So remove those lines so you can see it. And the next candle is what's going to determine if I bail on the trade. Right, so, or if I take another partial and just try to lock in profits and then move my stop loss to break even to lock in profits. But didn't do that because this candle bursted back up. Right here, this candle closed above the trend. And then the next candle opened above the 9 and 20 EMA, the blue lines. So let's run it. And now I said all that, and then next candle could mess me all up, right? Because this was done, this trade was made earlier in the day around 11 o'clock market time, which is 10 o'clock my time. So I took another partial. Yeah, see, I took another partial with the fear that it's not going to reclaim that 50 SMA. Let's run it forward. Still underneath that 50 SMA. I was like, okay, I'm taking another partial. Make sure I'm locked in profits. Then it gets above. Okay, I take another. So these were probably pretty small partials here. 10%ers, 20% max. Yeah, because I still have quite a bit of shares of a stock that's $178 per share. So I just wanted to make sure and lock in profits. And now I'm not sure where my stop loss is, but I lost my stop loss based on a hotkey there. But set a range order and said, okay, once it hits this price, I'm all out. Get up there. Get up there. Okay. Wait, that looks like an entry. This is all out here out of this trade, and that looks like I entered another trade. Oh, sorry about that. Put my P&L up there during the video. You can see that I was basically break even for the day at that point. Okay, so winging it here on this one, huh? So got a trade from here, partial there, partials here, and then we got a pop. And because of that burst of energy, that pop with volume, relative volume, I jumped in once it held this intraday level. Goes to show I should do my reviews right after each trade. That'll keep me from over trading as well. Now I'm short. So this is dovetailing here, okay? Bear with me. This is a long to here. All out here. This is a short. This is the stop out of that short. And now I'm short with the stop loss of that wick. So over trading for sure. I think I ended up green on this stock. I don't know, somewhere between $100 and $500, and I think that basically happened on this long here. And then with these shares, if I had have taken this as just a one partial trade, so in here, stop loss here, set your R, that I don't know, that I'm guesstimating, but I bet you that's a 10R trade. If I'd have just bought X amount of shares and sold them all right there, but I didn't. I was waiting for this to happen and panic because it wasn't reclaiming the 50 SMA and got all out. So this is a short, stop out there. Now I'm in a short. Let's run it faster. Okay, I took a partial. So there's my entry. This is a partial. Oh, it took several partials there, right? So let's pause that. Okay, so now my recollection is coming back because this was a pretty good trade, but shouldn't have taken so many partials. And the reason I took that's what happens when you're over trading. So when you're not sure what a stock is going to do and it's doing this and doing this, you're not as confident as, you saw my the AMD part 1 and part 2 today. That was just a trade where I could sense, I could feel which way the stock was going based on the level 2, based on the time of sales, based on what it had done throughout the day. So here, this is just an example of over trading and reluctantly just taking partials where I can to lock in profits. So there's a famous trading psychologist that says do not trade on fear and greed. And when you trade with P&L in mind, with profit loss in mind, you're trading on fear or greed. So took several partials here on that short after my psychology lesson, right? My rant on that, guys. Took another partial there. Let's fast forward it. Okay, moved my stop loss down to, if it gave up these averages, not a very technical stop loss, right? Right in the middle of a body. So still trading on P&L. Took another partial. And that's done. So this was where I was all out of my position. No more shares down in here. Right here was the last. And let's go over to the actual platform and see what the stock did afterwards. Okay, so here we are. That's that candle where I took all the partials. Let's just scroll over a little. That was here. So yeah, so I took partial, pulled back, low volume, took my last partial here as it broke the 100 SMA on the 1, and then I thought on this candle it was going to come back up, so I took my last partial. Then looks like I took another short here, took a partial, got stopped out at break even, then took a short here, added to the position, scroll out a little more. Oh, lost it. There it is. So that's all the activity. So took another entry here, added to it, averaged up, since I saw it was testing these. So got in on the 9 and then averaged up when it tested. Now here we're still going short, right? Tested the 20, took a partial here. Nope, that is not how it went down. So long, all out, long, added to the position, partial, partial, added to the position, partial, all out. Sorry guys, forgot how I traded Roku. That is just a self-example to me of how, regardless of your P&L, how not to trade a stock. Hoping and wishing that it's going to go this direction or the other. Apologize for the rant on this one, but hey, thanks for watching, and catch you guys on the next video recap.